A big hello and a warm welcome to all of you amazing and beautiful people out there to my channel, the Twin Flame Union. And my friends, I would like to say to all of you that we are moving into a time, we are already in the age of Aquarius. However, this is the time which would be a time where the energies will get unified, they will be synchronized. Basically, the energies are going to be synchronized in such a way that two different types of energies, one is the Sansara energy and one is the Nirvana energy. The Sansara energy is the materialistic energy, the materialistic world that we live in, which a lot of people in the Twin Flame community called the three-dimensional world, because it needs materialistic objects as validation, materialistic proofs as validation for existence, that will be getting synchronized with the 5D world or higher vibrational world, and this will lead to something very beautiful. And that is, this connection basically will not only lead to unification, which is singularity, but the feminine energy or the matriarchal energy or the Shakti energy, the Shakti will start flowing in a very fast, in a very high speed flow. In many years, in the dark ages especially, the feminine energy, the Shakti, was completely, you can say, blocked, and the patriarchal energies were in big high rise, and that's why everything was about conquering and everything was about, invading, conquering, achievements. And this is not against the masculine energies, because without Shakti, without the feminine energies, this is what the masculine energies eventually do. And because they are just amongst each other and they just have to show who is the better man, and that is done by physical strength, or that is done just by gaining more and more objects or more and more like conquers and things like that. So both the energies got completely out of tune, and the one needs the other. And why we say the word Shakti itself means power, it means energy. So without energy, without power, the masculine can only do a show off or a display of physical energy. That physical energy does not have loving energy, does not have creative energy. And that is why in those years, in those ages, artistic people, writers, inventors, they had to really struggle a lot, so much so that they had to, people like Socrates, they had to drink poison. And these were all revolutionaries of their time who sacrificed their own lives for the betterment of humanity and the coming generations. Socrates could have fled, he could have run away, but he spent his final days in the company of his friends, and he was basically accused of corrupting the youth of Athens, because he used to speak about reality, he used to speak about unity, he used to speak about singularity, one love, and he was spreading the message of truth. And he was telling people to believe in the right things. So those went against him, but he did not run away, and eventually he smilingly, he chose to die. Now, even though I'm giving these examples in this channeling session, but this channeling session is about the masculine energy turning towards the feminine energy in a way that he's also become a gentler being, he's also become a more loving being, a more harmonious being. It's not just about biceps and muscle power and physical fitness, or trying to show that I have more power. He has also realized in many ways that the power is in love, and it's in forgiveness, it's in acceptance, and not in all of the other things that he was doing. This also sort of shows that the materialistic world and spiritual world, the higher mind and the higher consciousness, is becoming one. This also means that even the feminine energy is, or the spiritual world is giving acknowledgement to the materialistic world, because both go hand in hand. It's like the soul recognizes the body and the body recognizes the soul. The soul knows that the body is temporary, but the temporary body is a very useful device, and without the help of that device, the liberation cannot be attained. The suffering and the pain, or the joyous experiences, the love that is experienced, it's experienced because of a certain identity that the soul chooses to take on. The template that has been experienced by the divine feminines and divine masculines is done via the body. So that's where the body is very important, and the body knows that the permanent address of the body is the soul, is the spirit, and the permanent form of the body is also the spirit. So both of them accept and acknowledge each other. It's more like, you can say, the logic and emotion both are coming in sync in the age of Aquarius. Now, there are certain very beautiful lines that the divine masculine template is sharing with the divine feminine template. They are completely in awe of the feminine. They are completely in awe of her strength, as opposed to that time when they could not understand her. They were negative about her, and the strength was seen as a display of overconfidence, or the intuition was seen as some sort of gibberish, or the other things like nurturing was seen as being over dramatic, so on and so forth. So they don't see any of that, and it's almost like a new masculine has been created and a new feminine has been created. In his eyes, from his perspective, he is literally saying that you've got the most beautiful eyes, because you're through you I see so much beauty of the feminine, because feminine is so delicate, so soft, so full of movements, beautiful movements. That's why even when someone turns a dancer or a singer, they need to develop those feminine energies, those creative energies, so that they can bring out those talents, or bring out those flexibilities that is required, that is needed in performances. So he is saying that she's such a beautiful performer. Look at the way she moves. It can make my heart soar up into the sky. And the way she breathes, even when she breathes so delicately and with so much femininity. He's really seeing his femininity as a beautiful emotion. Now, in this channeling session, the divine masculine and divine feminine are together. They are together with each other. They are in each other's presence. And he is saying to universe, to source, to God, that I'm so happy and I'm so grateful to you. And my gratitude is it's next level gratitude, because this person who's with me, she's being loved by everyone. So many people love her, so many people want her, because in his eyes he's now seeing her like that. He's seeing his beauty, he's seeing a lot of nurturing in her that he was not able to see earlier. Even he is getting awakened. So the more awakened he's going to be, the more he can see. So he is thanking God, he is thanking Source that she is with me, this beautiful. And it is not just the beauty of the physicalities or the physical appearance of her. He finds her beautiful, that's it. And then because of that beauty that he sees in her, overall she becomes a beautiful person for him, and a beautiful woman, the most attractive woman for him. So he is saying that I want to say so much to her, I want to share so much with her. Even if I ask all my questions, I will still have some questions left, That is the amount of curiosity, inquisitivity, that is the amount of grace, mysteriousness, mysticism she carries. because now the divine masculine has started stepping into the mystical world also. And the more he reads about the mystical world, the more he remembers the things she used to say and the things she shared or the things she talked about so many times to him as well as to others. Now, obviously, we live in the world of social media, so it's not really a surprise that he is how he got to know what she says or what she thinks. So, he then also talks about the dream world and the dream work that he has done, and he remembers that she used to say certain things to him which he used to find very unbelievable at one point. But in the journey, because of the twin flame journey, many a times he also witnessed, he experienced that amount of pure love with her during the dream space. Like, no matter how angry he was with her or no matter how distanced they were, all of that physical distance or emotional distance, whatever he had, long distance, or even if they were in the same city, maybe they were living too far from each other, or they used it as an excuse, or when they were in separation, then obviously there was distance. He feels that despite all of those distanced emotions, whenever they met in the dream space, it felt like a real meeting. It felt like as if he was actually with her, holding her hands or hugging her or touching her, or just walking around with her in a garden or somewhere. It felt so real. It felt like she was literally there, looking so beautiful, so divine. And how is that possible, he would think? How is that possible? When he would wake up, he would still feel her presence. He would still feel her fragrance around his body, around him in his room. He would be driving and he would be thinking about her, that, last night I saw this dream. It felt like I was with her for 8 hours or for really long, and he had a very deep sleep, and he felt that, how is that possible? I was so angry with her. I didn't want to talk to her. But in my dream, I was completely in love with her. We were one. We were inseparable in the dream. I was, holding her hand, or I was playing with her hair. I was just walking around with her. How is this possible? How on earth? And then he had these series of dreams. Every time he would feel something very intense, he would feel like, something is upsetting him. She would be there to comfort him in the dream. And that feeling, that emotion will completely change how he sees her. He is also feeling one more thing, that, in the dream space, whenever they met each other, he would say so many things to her. And the meetings were always so effortless. There was no... And obviously it used to drive him nuts also at one point, because how is this possible? How is it possible that the person I don't want to talk to, or I'm not talking to, I meet her in my dreams, and in my dreams I'm completely, in love with her, and I'm saying so many things. And he also remembered certain conversations that happened in the dream space, where he spoke with her, or he shared with her so much. Now he's thinking, whatever I told her in my dreams, should I tell her now in present situation when she is in front of me? Should I share all of that with her or not? I am finding courage to tell her all of that. So he is having a conversation with an invisible friend or God, like as if God is an invisible friend of his. And he is asking God that, should I do it? Should I ask her about the dreams I saw, about the talks we had in the dreams, or the things we did? Would she think I'm normal? Would she think, is it normal? Or maybe, she would know about it, wouldn't she? Wouldn't she know about it? So he is having this conversation with himself, and he also feels that, she has a very pure energy. He has some kind of divine energy with her, which he cannot explain. It's like, when the moon has this beautiful moon, when it's in full moon phase, even when it's not in full moon, there is this, aura of the moon around, that white, beautiful aura around. It's like a layer of light. He feels that she sort of has that, she carries that. And when she looks at him, he feels like, oh my God, she's looking at me. What is she thinking about me? What is she... he has 1,000 thoughts in his mind when she looks at him in person. He feels that these are the deepest pair of eyes I've ever seen in my entire life. So deep, so deep, so deep. If I dive into them, I don't think I can ever come out. Very poetic, right? Very poetic and very, you can say, you can feel a lot of romance in these words. But some kind of a romance which is not made up. But he is talking like like how people do poetry when they are in love. So this is where the channeling ends, and the feminine energy is definitely realizing her worth. She's realizing her power. She's realizing her strength. She's realizing the very fact that Shakti itself means power. And she doesn't need to go up to other people, or she doesn't need to please other people for their attention. She can give her attention to her own self, and she doesn't need, sometimes Divine Feminine had felt that she used to get extra attention that she didn't require, attention of those people who could do harm to her, those people who don't have good intentions towards her. And she has faced this type of negative attention, you can say, in her childhood also. That's because of the programming, that's because of the patterns that she was into. But now she realizes that she can control that. She doesn't have to be visible and in certain places, and yet she can be visible where she wants to be visible. She is not going to depend on other people's validation. They are no one to write her story. They are no one to write her destiny. She will write her destiny on her own. So she has that power and she has that spirit, and most importantly, she is with Source, and Source is there to guide her. She has put all her faith in Source, and she believes in Source, and she knows that Source will take care of her. Source is always taking care of her like a true mother and father would. Thank you so much for being here with me. One love and peace out.